Hi, welcome to today's episode of The Insider. I'm Togozile, and on the show today we have NAPSA Director General Mr. Muyangwa Muyangwa, who has a significant background in finance and has previously held positions at the IMF and the Zambia Revenue Authority. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Togo.
Now, you were appointed as NAPSA Director General in 2022. So, what were your immediate priorities upon taking office?
I think, given my background, that I wasn't really a pensions guy, I'm a finance guy. First of all, was to understand the pension landscape in Zambia and understanding why NAPSA was established. What were our forefathers thinking of? What was it that they wanted NAPSA to deliver? And then understanding where the current government was headed in terms of the pension reforms, and understanding also the economic plans for the current government, and then putting that all together and finding a role that NAPSA should play. So I arrived at a position or in time when the new government came in, the UPND government came in, and in its manifesto, there was a very large agenda of pension reforms. So I actually just walked into pension reforms, the penalty waivers, the 20% partial withdrawal. And that sort of, maybe I must say I was lucky, because that then opened up a lot of opportunities that made it easier now to fit into the things I was describing that I wanted to understand from the onset. And I think having insights into what the government was trying to achieve in terms of economic transformation and looking at why NAPSA was established, ticked out those that I thought we had made good progress on, and identified areas where I thought we still needed to do a lot of work, and focused on that. So mostly that was, there's one aspect of NAPSA that most people don't talk about. If you say NAPSA, everyone just saying paying benefits. But there's actually a bigger role, which is mobilizing savings from the Zambians to support national development. That is an objective that the forefathers way back in 1996 actually put in the NAPSA as NAPSA's objectives. So I felt that was a part that we could focus on a bit more, while also looking at how we can improve the level of benefits that the Zambians get at the end of, after contributing for 35 years or 30 years to the country. How much do you actually then use to sustain yourself in retirement? So that became more like the bigger picture of the focus, my focus, yes.
Beautiful. Welcome again.
Thank you.
Thank you. In 2019, the Auditor General's report revealed that NAPSA used contributors' funds to buy shares in a Chinese company, obviously called Marco Polo. Can you explain what led to that investment and how it served the interests of ordinary Zambian personnel?
So I may not be able to explain the thinking behind that, but one of the key issues that NAPSA does with the money that we collect is we have to invest it. Remember I mentioned that it takes an average person's working life is about 30 years. You join a company when you are 20, you leave when you are 55 or 60. So the demand from the way the NAPSA's benefits were structured are at the tail end of your working career. But you contributing every month. So we have to find a way where to put that money in a manner that earns back more money to be ready to pay the liabilities when they come due in future, which is usually 30 years from the time you started contributing. So from that perspective, you can see what the team that was there was trying to do, looking at Marco Polo and some of the issues that it was bringing on board. There must have been a feeling that this could be a venture that then helps us with the long-term revenue generation that matches then the liabilities that NAPSA generates. Now, I did not go into the details as to why. Was that the best available at the time? Those might have been the considerations that they have to do. But from our perspective, when we came in, the new board and the new management, we reviewed all the key investments that were done, just to make sure that the goals are aligned to NAPSA's objectives or continue being aligned to NAPSA's objectives, and the performance of these investments are actually delivering to the main goals of NAPSA. And I'm sure you remember that, don't know if I can mention this, but the president never used to spare any moment to talk about the bad investments, the bad decisions that were happening at NAPSA. And therefore, we needed to clean our image and our name and make sure that we focus, we get things right and put things in a manner that the owners of the money, yourselves, actually get value from the investment decisions that we make.
Beautiful. Of the Auditor General's report, obviously there were a number of transactions that were laid bare that were maybe called inconsistent or not in alignment with the core mandate of NAPSA. What changes have been done since your incoming to obviously reshape the image, as you said, to clean up NAPSA and maybe give it a new fresh face, especially where it comes down to the fact that, you know, billions of kwacha might have been lost and NAPSA has a duty to retrieve that money and obviously replace it and give it back to the Zambian pensioners?
Indeed. Like I said, we reviewed our portfolio. One, to look for where we got value for money. Where we felt we didn't get value for money, we went back into discussions, or we are going into discussions with those involved to ensure that NAPSA gets value for money for their investment. Some of the investments, I'm sure you've seen NAPSA selling properties and all that. All that is a view to making sure that the return on every one kwacha that we put in investment is optimized. So some of them are non-performing. So we went to our board, we agreed that all the non-performing assets, we should let go of them and reinvest the money in much more productive areas. So there's a lot that is going on in terms of, some is going back to look at the transactions that happened and then coming up with strategies of how we actually reinstate NAPSA's value in the transaction.
And for the personnels that were involved that maybe needed to be held accountable, has more been done to actually hold them accountable as well?
Yes, and more is going to be done. And I'll tell you from what happened, or when the new board and new management came in, there is now a standing practice at NAPSA. Every time a new board comes in, all the investments are audited that the other board did before the new board starts.
Okay.
They are subjected to an audit to make sure that they were done correctly and they were done in favor of the owners of the funds.
Okay. Is that why in recent years NAPSA has moved away from investing in commercial malls towards funding public infrastructure projects?
I think that's a more one. It's based on a return, the return that you get from there. It's much higher than investing in a mall. Two, remember I said one of the key objectives of NAPSA, why it was set up, is support national development.
Yes.
So let's look at priorities. Where would NAPSA's money that the owners, the Zambians, actually contribute be more impactful?
Yes.
Will it be in us developing a new mall or actually investing in infrastructure?
Correct.
I think the answer for every Zambian will be put the money in infrastructure. So that for us, we feel that's our contribution to the economic transformation of the country, impactful investment that deals with national challenges or issues that slow down the country's economic progress.
Beautiful. With the partial withdrawal schemes, back to that. Obviously, we did have a range of 5,000 and 160,000 as the minimum and the maximum. How did we actually even come up to those figures? Because obviously we spoke about this offset, about how each of us has different income thresholds. You know, we all have different financial backings. How did you come up with that threshold and the difference in figures?
So I almost said it's like VAT, but then I realized I shouldn't mention tax. So it's a percentage of what you have. So obviously, because we are of different income levels in terms of our salaries, a 5% on a guy who earns 60,000 and a 5% on a guy who earns 2,000 they'll vary in terms of the quantum, the actual monetary value. So when the government came in and said you need to support individuals to allow them to access the savings that that NAPSA holds to make investment decisions on their own, the 20% figure was arrived at using an actuarial assessment. We always have to be mindful that whatever we do, we don't damage the scheme.
Yes.
So at that point, our actuary advised that a 20% payout would not have an adverse impact on the scheme. So therefore, it was agreed that 20% be the partial withdrawal, that every member who has reached 60 contributions or you're 45 years old, you are able to access 20% of the money that accrued on your account as at the time that the benefit was introduced.
Are the withdrawals still happening?
Yes.
So
It's
if
for life.
I, as Nawanga today, decided to go and withdraw my 20%.
If you didn't get your 20%, you can get it anytime.
Beautiful.
So that's
You hear this straight from
that's
his
a
mouth.
that's a new benefit that has been added to the suite of benefits that NAPSA deals with. But again, like we're saying, you can see this comes from the theme or the approach that the government took and say we need to reform the public pension schemes, make sure that they're more responsive to the people's needs. So the 20% was one of one new benefit that was introduced at NAPSA to add to the benefits that have been in existence.
Okay.
For, at that time, it was 22 years. So the scheme had not seen any changes in 22 years.
Oh, okay.
I think anything that stays that stable for a long time becomes risky.
Yes.
That's a new one. Stability into risk.
That's too much. Yes.
Okay, so let's talk figures. By mid-2023, NAPSA had paid out approximately 5.8 billion kwacha in partial withdrawals, with about 5.2 billion still pending. So how has NAPSA managed these large disbursements so far? And what controls are in place to ensure that paying out these withdrawals does not compromise the fund's overall liquidity?
On a lighter note, we're actually disappointed with the Zambian people. We thought they would come out in numbers.
Really?
We've now reached 10 billion.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes, and paid over 420,000 members.
Okay.
But there's still some members that haven't come through because they've made the decision they don't want their money now. When they are ready for the money, they'll come through. So interestingly, I think if you remember, there was a very huge debate as to what was going to happen to NAPSA if we paid out the 20%. A lot of
Speculation.
doomsayers were saying
Yes.
that would be the end of NAPSA.
Yes,
When
yes.
we started selling off some of the properties that were not performing, say, you see, we told you they've run out of money, now they're selling land. But what was interesting is at the time that we're introducing a 20% partial withdrawal, the size, the asset under management or the size of the investment portfolio in NAPSA was 56 billion.
Oh.
Today, even after paying the 10 billion, it's 106 billion.
Wow.
What?
So clearly there's no impact, but it did something that even those who were opposed to them did not realize was going to happen. Suddenly, Zambians were aware of their pension savings. Now, they actually make sure that the employers make the payments because they would want to make a 20% partial withdrawal when they want to. So they are following up their savings every time you make a deduction as an employer. We send them a notification that your employer has actually paid for you or your employer has not paid for you. So that's a very big plus, and I don't think we expected the impact in terms of what is possible for NAPSA from the 20% partial when it was being coined. But now it has opened up a very wide box of possible products that NAPSA can offer just because of the 20%.
Nice.
It's been noticed that Zambian pensioners, including those that are contributing through NAPSA, held government bonds or government euro bonds before Zambia's default. Is NAPSA doing anything to default on those pension funds? And how best are you advising the contributors who had invested in the pension savings to maybe get their money back? How are we going to work around that one?
Well, I think most of the pension, the default or the borrowing that happened from the pension was not domestic per se, and I can safely say that whatever investment we put in as NAPSA into treasury bills and government bonds is very safe. They are long term. They are not things that were supposed to be paid in 1 year or in 2 years. They are mostly 15 years, 10 years. Our bond structure, we invest on the long term. Remember, we are what they call patient capital. We have no need for money today. We need it much way down the line in future. Now, yes, some of the money that the country could have borrowed externally actually came from pension funds in other countries. But in investments, there's always the risk that you take on any investment that you put up or you go into.
Yes.
The good thing for those non-Zambians who had their pension funds lending to the country is the debt has been restructured, so they're still going to get their money back. At least it's for the sake of the country. We need our reputation intact going forward. Our credit worthiness has to be maintained and upheld, and it also helps in the bigger picture of the investment landscape that we need to hit the targets that are in our 8th National Development Plan, for example. We can only marshal so much within the country. We need other investors to come in to bring their capital from outside. No one wants to invest in a financial environment that is unstable. Everyone wants a very stable, predictable environment to invest in, and they make sure they reap their returns. So by that restructuring, it created back again, we gained our integrity, if you may put it that way, as a country, that people can now come back and make investment decisions. But at the same time, that created a switch, because for a long time, or for some time, the cost of capital to come into Zambia, because we're termed defaulters, the risk premium or the premium that they placed on us was so high, that pushed the cost of capital much higher. So we had to look internally. And if you start looking internally, that's where the NAPSAs come in, the workmen's compensation come in, Zambia State Insurance come in, the ZCCMYHs come in, to now start saying, hang on, we actually have money here that we can use to do things whilst we're still sorting out our reputation outside the country. So we as NAPSA invest a lot actually in government paper. More than 50% of that 100 billion is actually held in government paper. So we are a very dependable source of local capital that is needed to finance certain operations. The good thing is you can safely feel that because of the separation between consumption and investment, that money is going to go into recoverable areas or sustain certain areas to make sure that the government can run and therefore be able to provide the environment and the public goods that need to be provided.
Just on that point that you mentioned, obviously your fellow statutory brothers and sisters, such as workmen's compensation, Zambia State Insurance, when it comes down to even, creating schemes for pensioners, I mean, it's one person, one people, basically. Do you have policies and blueprints that, synchronize to a certain extent so that the flow of work between agencies is actually, benefiting the person or the pensioner at the end of the day?
Well, maybe let me talk about the pension landscape in the way it's designed in Zambia.
Yes.
So each pension level, I call them pension level, has a role to play. So the structure of our pension system in Zambia is such that we have tier 0, we are in tiers. Tier 0, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, up to tier 4. You can go on after that, it's been how creative you are. But tier 0 is basically the social cash transfer. That's a social security scheme. It supports people with insufficient income. Tier 1 is NAPSA. So in terms of dependence, we are next to the treasury in ensuring that Zambians in retirement can live a decent life. Tier 2 is the occupational pension schemes. And then tier 3 are the individual retirement accounts. So it goes on. Now, there was a very deliberate policy in structuring it such a way, with NAPSA coming in as tier 1. Basically, it's your last resort when everything fails. It's not your first resort. It's your last resort when everything fails. That's why you find that even in the design of the benefits, they were designed differently from what you find at PSPF. Because the idea was PSPF is your other level of pension savings that you can access first and do whatever you want to do with before you fall back on NAPSA. So NAPSA was a fallback, not the first line. Then you go to the individual retirement account. Yes, to a certain extent, we have the pension landscape developed in that structure, but I think there's still a lot of room for improvement in ensuring that everyone has the 3 levels. I don't normally like counting the social cash transfer because of the strain it puts on the treasury. In a situation like now where the treasury the space is very tight for the treasury, that should not be something that we're encouraging more. Instead, we should be encouraging the NAPSAs, should be encouraging the PSPFs, we should be encouraging the private pension schemes, should be encouraging individual retirement accounts being established, so that we have a multi-layered approach to supporting our livelihood in retirement. So now, obviously, we have a lot of room for improvement in how the agencies or the pension funds or other government agencies that operate in a more related manner, how we actually deal with each other. There's still too much siloed approach, where NAPSA wants to run as NAPSA, NIMA wants to run as NIMA, ZRI as ZRI, workman compensation as workman, when in actual fact we are talking about the same one individual. And the base on which we are collecting whatever statutory contribution we are collecting is actually one. But you are required to deal with the 4 of us at any given time. One says the due date is this, the other one the due date is this, the other one the due date is that. Your accountants must be very busy.
Yes, they are.
There's room for improvement where we can actually just have one base and one collection point, and then the distribution is done behind the scenes, not placing the burden on the employers. You still have to deal with taxes. I'm sure you still have to pay for your licenses, the council and whoever. So I hope the government service bus comes to start sorting out some of these issues, so that at least you do once anything to do with government or anything to do with statutory. The rest is the behind the scenes distribution of how much percent goes to where and what goes where. So there's a lot of room for improvement. We are signing a lot of MOUs, for example, with NIMA, with ZRA, to start looking at how we can share information to cut down the compliance burdens on the employers.
Okay, so still on the 20%, there are contributors like Lawson Chama, who built student housing, and Nelia Banda, who started a poultry farm using their 20% withdrawals to launch the businesses. So does NAPSA offer any financial education or support to ensure that these entrepreneurial uses of the pension money pay off, rather than leaving them short on their retirement savings?
I think that's one area where there's still a lot of room for improvement. It's a pity most of us Zambians only want to know about our pension funds when we are 55. We don't interact with the pension system all through. As a result, the level of maybe what I may call financial literacy, there's a lot of need from our side, and everyone involved in managing finances to educate more the Zambians on how to take care of your investment, how to structure your investment, what's the role of the pension fund in your retirement, what's the role of the other side hustles that we may call them side hustles that you do, how do you link them together? I think that's a very big, it's a space that is open for a lot of entrepreneurs, if I may call that, to come and play and plug in and help the NAPSAs, anyone with the pension fund to impart more financial education on the holders. We were riding on the 20%. We're riding on the fact that there is actually a study which shows that Zambians are very entrepreneurial. And therefore, when they have access to money, they try to look at certain options of where to invest that. We are carrying out a study right now with Zipper just to find out how the money that was gotten out of the 20% was actually utilized. We think this is going to be very good feedback into the policy formulation going forward, and then the government and those who do policy can then design other products that can stimulate growth and investment from a personal perspective. So to answer your question in short, there's still a lot of room for improvement in financial literacy. NAPSA does not have any support that goes to that extent, but we are beginning to take steps on how to actually assist maybe not individuals at the moment, but small businesses. And if they get money, how do they manage it? How do they make sure that they grow, keep books, understanding leverage, understanding when to borrow, managing their customers? We have set up, recently you saw the president launched something at Intercontinental, GIPZ. It's a funding platform for small businesses. It just doesn't end at financing. It actually provides support. It's almost like business extension services that remember the agriculture extension services? So this one will provide business extension services to handhold the SMEs through their progression as they grow into medium and large scale. We are hoping that part of that education, since SME is not a living entity, there's an accountant somewhere there who's going through this process, is going to bolster their understanding of finances, which they can then apply in their private lives. But we are not ending there. We are exploring something for entrepreneurs and most individuals, where again we are going to go through incubation periods of helping them refine their ideas. Then they come out, they make a pitch, we finance them, we handhold them, find markets for them. We feel that is one part from the entrepreneurial side that can work. On the individual side, we are engaging mostly some people who have retired who want to come and tell their story. To collaborate with them, to be able to come and teach the young guys that are joining and even those who are about to retire or what to expect in retirement and how to manage your finances. So we are reaching out to some retirees who can now come and tell their own story. Obviously, the story will be from the negative side of what not to do. Others will be what to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Given all these changes, obviously the 20%, the change in investment schemes, there's a certain volatility that comes with it because obviously NAPSA's come very aggressively to showcase what it is they can do, and I know it's been in line with obviously the new government also coming in, and realistically speaking, we are going into elections again, and I mean, God willing, we see DG come further in more years with us. What assurance do maybe the youth, the new contributors have to say, yes, these guys are withdrawing this year and they've enjoyed for the past 4 years. Come the 5th year, things potentially change. What assurance do they have to say the contributions will still be given out, that their money and their schemes will still be maintained, and, come 10 years down the line, God willing, we're still in the same space or we change. There's still a bit of fear to say, we'll go back into the old days, because NAPSA once again was known for not doing payouts. It's only in recent times that we've seen the push especially with the marketing come our way?
I can assure you the future is only going to look better.
Okay.
Like I said, I think I said something that it took 22 years for the suite of benefits of NAPSA to change. There's already the public pension reform that's going on, and a key part of that is actually on NAPSA, where a lot of things are going to change. And in terms of ensuring the safety of the contributions, that's something we are paying great attention to. On the governance side, what we are setting in place, the mechanisms, almost everything, let me just say, everything that we are introducing, we had to go and look for a third party who is called an actuary to actually do an assessment for us and tell us that this is safe for you to do. All the products that we are going to introduce, the changes in the benefits that we are going to introduce, all those have been subjected to an independent party saying you are safe and you're okay. Now, for those who may feel that it may not be sustainable, I think they should wait and see what on the other side is paying out, what we are doing on the contribution side. We basically want to change the way we approach contributions. For now, let me just give you a bigger picture. There are 20 million Zambians, and NAPSA only has 1.3 million members. Where is the 18? Let's discount half of that and say they're all babies. That leaves us with 10 million Zambians. Where are the 7 or 8 million Zambians that NAPSA has not captured? So, if we look at it from that perspective and say with just 1.3 million members, the scheme is 100 billion. With 8 million members, it's a giant. So we've set ourselves a target. Within the next 10 years, the total asset under management at NAPSA should be $10 billion. We're at 3.5. We need to push it to $10 billion. So how are we pushing it? We are pushing on both sides, encouraging more people to come in as members of NAPSA, making sure that they feel that there's a benefit in being a member of NAPSA by playing or by dealing with the issues on the benefit side, giving them products that answer to their needs instead of waiting till you reach retirement. We should be able to provide for what they call informal sector. We don't want to call them informal sector anymore. It's just Zambians who employ themselves. What do they look for in a financial system? Can NAPSA provide that answer? We feel that we can provide that answer better than the banks, because the banks are short-term, we are long-term. All our thinking is not for today and tomorrow. We think 30 years, 20 years, 15 years. So that allows us a lot of flexibility from a financing perspective to come up with products that do not create a strain on those who are going to enjoy the benefits, but also ensure that it does not damage the scheme. So we feel that there shouldn't be a reason why NAPSA should not be lending money to small-scale businesses at short notice, and then they pay it back through contributions.
Okay. So analysts also estimate that the partial withdrawal policy will inject about 11 billion kwacha into the Zambian economy. So how does NAPSA measure the economic or social impact of this policy? And what is your vision for how this increased liquidity should translate into improved livelihoods for Zambians?
I actually like to joke that ask anyone who received the partial, maybe they can answer that question for us. Because immediately there was a very big change in their financial well-being and they were able to make decisions. But here is what we saw. Like I said, we're carrying out a study, an independent person. We have commissioned an independent party to do a study on the impact of the social cash, of the 20% partial withdrawal and how it was utilized. Quick evidence is certain things that we saw. we had a lot of discussions with the mobile money agents who said that they had to extend their opening hours to support the injection of money that went into the economy. Because if they used to close at 6, they were closing at 22 hours because it was busy. I'm sure you know where the NAPSA offices are,
Yes.
at Levy.
Yes.
Okay. There was a time the ATMs used to run out of, during that period, they would run out of cash.
Oh, money.
And the trolleys were in the car park, not in the shopping mall. So whatever was happening there, the economy was...
It was seeing it. It was feeling it.
The economy was turning. Now, others will come in and say, yeah, but you created inflation. But that's fine. Those are some of the consequences. But I think there might be a consequence like that. But I think the bigger picture was what happened to the businesses and what happened to the economy as a whole. We think that it was impactful. Yes, it was at that time, I think about 9 billion that we had put in. But we should realize that it was 9 billion because it was sort of paid in arrears. If that law had been in existence since the time NAPSA was created, that money would not have been noticeable because it would have been just a small amount every day that comes in. Now no one notices it, but we are still paying it. It's because there are fewer people now that are coming in. The large numbers that came in is because they were receiving the benefit in arrears. Because some of them most of the people did not qualify in 2022. Some of them qualified as far back as 2005. But they only paid out in 2022. The good thing for that is they got a very huge payout because of what we call interest.
Yeah.
Because all this time. But there should not be... It's a consequence of money going into an economy in a short period of time. I think now the effects, whatever effects, have sort of leveled off and it's come back to normal. But I think if you ask the people that received the money, they will say, can you give us again?
I'm sure they would. I don't think anyone would say no to good
No,
free money,
no,
you know, even if it's not really free.
No, that's the only money that was free. No one charged you interest. No one asked you to pay it back. And I'll tell you a story behind that. There were options that were on the card. One of the options is pay it through the bank and then recover it. That would have meant the owners paying back with a small amount of interest. That the partial withdrawal...
It's just purely...
It's your money.
Yes.
Your money, no interest. The only interest you get is what NAPSA paid you the interest on your money. Absolutely free. And to that effect, I sat in a meeting, Stanchart called for a meeting of businesses, and we're fortunate to have been invited there. And one of the CEOs for a microfilm complained that we put them out of business for that period. Because Zambians, we may not be perceived to be very financially literal or lend, but they can tell between money that needs to be paid back at interest and money that doesn't.
Yes.
And they chose the partial. So now the microfilms might be coming back online, but I think the key issue really is we need to work on the side that the president always emphasizes, that don't use that money for consumption. Invest that money so that it keeps on growing. Because sometimes we believe the user has certain needs that they can do to grow it much faster than we can. So we hope that most of those that got the money invested in something they can see. The stories we are getting so far is people are inviting us to go and see their farms, to go and see their vegetable gardens where they put up solar irrigation systems, to go and see the houses, the roofed, to go and see. So there are a lot of positive stories. Of course, it's a representation of society. There will be a few people that disappeared from their homes for a long time till they ran out of money.
On a lighter moment, huh? Anyway, In July 2023, the president did announce that retirees would receive their retirement benefits within 3 months. With that timeline, obviously with the numbers and the crunch, what steps did NAPSA take to meet the 3-month target, if we're still even clearing off any backlogs, and to ensure that the retirees didn't face any delays in their repayment, especially since we were so willingly giving out these 20% partial withdrawals?
I think I wish I had the powers to go back to the president and say, Sir, could you just clarify that and say that did not affect NAPSA?
Oh, on record.
That was not meant for NAPSA. Yes, first let me put it this way. That was not meant for NAPSA.
Who was it meant for?
It was meant for other public pension schemes. That, if you remember, the government had to give money to these public pension schemes to assist them clear their arrears. NAPSA was not one of those. We can pay, let me put it this way I always have to be very humble when I say this. We have 1.3 million contributors, average 800,000 contributors. We have only 26,000 pensioners. There is no way we can fail to pay 26,000 pensioners.
So the pensioners that came out and said they failed to withdraw or they did not receive their monies.
Now that's where the employers come in. They didn't pay for them.
So it's down to the employers.
So that's when the partial withdrawal helped us a lot, because suddenly the pressure that the employees were putting on the employers to remit the money, some of them remitted and were able to pay them. So from a NAPSA perspective, we cannot be in a position where we cannot pay. The wage bill or the bill for pensioners is insignificant compared to the monthly collections. It's too small. We collect, in a year, it's in billions. This year we are targeting 10 billion. The wage bill does not even come to half. The only time the wage bill was exceeded was when we paid partial, and it's because we paid it in arrears. That's when we had to go to the secondary market and offload some treasury bills, some government securities that we're holding, to cover for only a month's period where the inflows were going to come later. So basically what happened was, you have money coming in, but it's coming in June. You are not going to tell a guy who wants his partial to wait till June. So just bridge the gap and let him not notice that there was actually anything like that. As far as we were concerned, they just wanted their money. So that's where we went and said, okay, sell off some of the assets so that we can pay these guys, whilst we are waiting for revenue flows to come in. Now, you have to remember that we have investments. That 101 billion, it's actually investment, which generates revenue streams every month. So it was just a matter of saying, hey, we are burning through 1 billion kwacha in 2 days. That's how much we used to pay out. Now, if you do that and say within 10 days, then where will we be? You have to just say, we need money to bridge this gap, whilst we are waiting for money to come in. Remember, we receive contribution every 10th. But the way the withdrawals were going, we will have 500 million in an account. The next thing, you are receiving phone calls that there's only 100 million remaining and there's still more coming in, so we need to replenish. So that's it was a cash flow issue of timing. That when does it come in and when does it go out? But from a perspective of NAPSA, that's not one of our challenges, being able to pay the pensioners when they need the money, especially when all their contributions were remitted to NAPSA. That's not a challenge.
What does NAPSA do in the case, like you've mentioned, sometimes it's down to the employers who are not remitting? Is there, criminal offenses? Does NAPSA have its own special police that does something about this? Because ideally, it's a sad situation for the employee to realize after working for a said number of years that, this wasn't being done for them.
Yeah. I think what we try to do is a much more collaborative approach with the employers, where we continue engaging them. And now employers cannot hide, because they know that their members are going to claim their partial. And the last thing they want is someone to come to NAPSA and say, your money has not come in. So we are seeing a lot of willingness on employers to come to us and say, look, I'm facing a cash flow challenge. Can you allow me to pay this over a period of time? And we say, okay, fine, go ahead. And we stay away from those. We don't, yes, there are criminal and civil
approaches that
are there, but we try to stay away from the criminal one.
Yes.
And just see how we can support the employers to meet their obligations on time. But you had raised something on the timeliness of payment of benefits. That's something we're really fighting very hard at NAPSA. I know we may not take the 3 years, but our approach is, it's your money, you should not wait for it. It should be paid to you anytime you say, I want to be paid, as long as it's due. So we have an approach we call 0 days, where we want to pay all the benefits within hours and not days. We are still far from it. Some of them are being paid, but we are working on the background of what is causing us to delay making payments. Once we've sorted, we think in 3 years' time that will be sorted out. Almost everyone will be able to get their benefits in 0 days, as long as the account is up to date, which we are making sure that we are doing. You may have seen that a NAPSA employee will phone you and say, by the way, you haven't paid. That's your account manager. So every employer has an account manager in NAPSA who just makes sure that money is coming in.
Just as a reminder.
Just as a reminder. When we get to a stage where we send you so many notices and you are quiet, we send in the inspectors. They go and try to find out why you are quiet. If even after the inspectors visit you, you are still not responsive, that's when we go to the courts to help us make you more responsive. But we try to make sure that's
you give them leeway.
That's the last resort. We don't jump to that immediately. We have to go through a process of working with the employers to understand why, giving them time to pay, and then if it's only those that just say they completely ignore you, no matter what you do, they will not be responsive. That's when we seek the assistance of the courts to make them respond. Because once the court pronounces itself, you don't want to be
liable.
Contempt. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay, so can contributors actually monitor their accounts individually, or it has to be through the account manager, like you said?
They can.
Okay.
So if you go to IKEA and log in, you can actually see how much money is.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
So, and we prompt you by sending you an electronic statement, sending you an SMS when your employer pays. That's our way of asking you to pay attention to your account. Have a look at your account. So we want to get a situation where the way people treat their bank accounts is exactly the way they treat an NAPSA account, because there's absolutely no difference. The only difference is the frequency of withdrawals. So we want, it's a very significant part of your savings. You cannot afford to let it just be unattended to. We want them to focus on that, and also for the fact that we are trying to create products that need you to pay attention to your account so that you can enjoy some of these products.
Okay.
Beautiful. Finally, as
Already?
we wrap up, I know it's been a beautiful
Tell us more.
It's been a beautiful conversation. We've been trying to be very politically correct, but I would say we need all the DGs of your statutory sisters and brothers to come here and really lament on what it is they're doing to make lives better.
Yes.
But finally, as we even close off, what is your message to the everyday Zambians who are contributing to NAPSA? We've spoken about transparency of it. We've spoken about the payouts. We've spoken about the goals and objectives of NAPSA, as well as maybe where we're going to be in the next 10 years, and the fact that we will still be receiving our contributions, as you've so well put it today. what would you tell them? And if there's any encouragement that you can give them over the payouts and even the pensions that they're receiving, how best they can do their investments, maybe what message would you give to them?
I think I'll start from something that is very, very topical right now. That people want to see better benefits. People want to see more responsive NAPSA in terms of the needs of the members. People want to see a much more transparent and accountable NAPSA. I think on the issue of transparency and accountability, we'll leave the people to be the judges, but we are putting in place measures that make sure that we are not wasteful. We do things in a manner that benefits the members better. In next week in Livingston, there will be an annual general meeting for NAPSA. So we're calling it a stakeholder engagement, but if it was a private company, it's actually the equivalent of an annual general meeting where we make a presentation of the financials of NAPSA and the strategies and what we are trying to introduce. And when we ask the owners of the funds to give us feedback, so it's like a town hall, but where we present the operations of NAPSA, the audited financial statements of NAPSA for the previous year. So this year we are presenting for 2024, and then we are presenting what plans we have for the members. They give us feedback. We feel that that's one way of letting them know that there's actually money that we are holding on their behalf, and they need to pay attention to how we utilize that money. On what they should expect, I think we want to build a much more responsive and, I want to use a political term, grassroots level NAPSA.
Oh, yes.
Where the members at individual level, they feel we see them. And they feel that we hear, we see what their needs are, and we try from a pension scheme perspective to solve their needs within the realms of pension. So those are some of the products we are trying to create, or we are creating. We're just waiting for the law to be passed. We want to be as flexible and as open as possible, and also make sure that that money that we are holding on behalf of people is not money that people feel they will die and live there without ever accessing. So we create as many products that support them. We are trying to amend certain pieces of our legislation that we feel serve no purpose, apart from just making it difficult for the members to utilize the money that is sitting in NAPSA. We are amending some of those provisions to make sure that you can actually, let's say, use your contributions as collateral for anything you want. We are looking at even ways of saying we feel we have earned a tag of a trusted investor in Zambia, such that if we came to you and said, do you have $1 million? Yes, we have a project here. Do you want to put your $1 million in that project? You should feel comfortable. And we want to make it so easy that you can just transfer your money from the bank where it's earning 2% and bring it to NAPSA where it's earning 9.5 on the dollar. And the interest goes back to you. You can do whatever you want with it. But we are trying just to use, one, the reputation of NAPSA, the pulling power that it has, and the fact that we feel we are more responsible in the way we handle the monies of the members, to allow members to participate more in, one, building their own future, and two, building their own country. The second part is a very key one. If you look at, let's look at the energy crisis right now. We are playing a big part in that, but we have received a demand or projects worth $2 billion. NAPSA does not have $2 billion. We have something, but we know that Zambians in Zambia and outside Zambia, maybe we can raise $1 billion through NAPSA. So that's part of the supporting national development that we want to do. So those are some of the things you should expect going forward in the new NAPSA, that you'll be able to come and have a share certificate because you have invested in a project and you are reaping the same interest that NAPSA gets on your money that they have invested. But when you bring your money specifically for that investment, you should be able to get that money as well at the same rate. So I think we want to find a NAPSA that is a people's NAPSA, not where the owners of the fund feel NAPSA belongs to someone else and not themselves. We want them to feel that it is their institution, it is their money. They should never forget it is their money, and that whatever use they want to do, we can help guide them in a manner by being flexible, innovative enough to create products within the pension scheme realm that allows them then to enjoy better or to have access to their money. There is a very big push. I'm sure you heard people saying we want a lump sum from NAPSA, I want a lump sum. It's coming. We're just waiting for government to sign that, and we'll make noise about it.
We'll use these platforms to keep making noise.
Please do.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Also, you've moved NAPSA to a 90 billion investment portfolio.
106 billion.
Oh, 106. Well
Correct your
done.
figures.
Well done for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
No, it's been an exciting topic today. And I think everyone wants to know what the people's NAPSA is looking like now. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been The Insider. My name is Nabonga, and we will see you on our next episode. Thank you.